Okay, okie dokie. So, to quote a popular or possibly even derisive political commentator, facts don't care about your feelings, and training facts also do not care about your feelings. So whether or not you've trained today, you missed a training session, or you lost an argument with your son about video games today, sometimes there's still a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And today on the Technique Tuesday video, we are talking about humping. No humping. Boom! That is the lesson for today. Now, why? A lot of times people come up to me when I'm training with the hammer and they say WTF. Now, I don't know what that means, but the inherent question that comes after is, what do you do with a bodybuilding and mobile functionality hammer? And for the most part, the answer to that is a lot of the training with the hammer is based on the platform of a kettlebell swing, and then we get to expand into some other stuff because of the handle orientation and other stuff like that. But because we're starting with a kettlebell swing as a base of momentum drive, we have to talk about this no humping idea. We got a little diagram for you, all right? A kettlebell swing is inherently a hinge. It's not a squat. So if we're seeing more knee bend than hip flexion, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go ahead and say 10 times out of 10, the power is coming from the wrong spot. And as soon as the power is coming from the wrong spot, some physiological adaptation is going to be happening that is no bueno. But getting the majority of people to think that way versus talking that way to coaches can be somewhat difficult. So hopefully this diagram helps. If it doesn't, find somebody whose diagram does help you, but if not, let's see if this thing works. So we're going to start here in the center, all right? This is the position from which the kettlebell or the hammer is behind your body. It's in your loaded position and the place from which we're going to explode and create power and lift into your swing. Now, if you're a CrossFit proponent, I'm talking about a Russian kettlebell swing or a Russian swing. I'm not talking about an American swing, nor will we be talking about the inherent merits or lack thereof of each position entirely. Fight them out in the comments, or don't, you know. No need to continue to add negativity to the internet if you don't want. But what we're seeing here is a slight bend in the knee, and I've got this red arrow here because from the down through the Achilles up through the glute complex, otherwise known as the posterior chain of the lower body, what we're seeing is an expansion here. There's an elastic capacity that goes through the lower body's posterior chain that we're using to help create power in the swing, all right? That's why we see the arrows going down, all right? The blue section is an area of stability that we want to see in the upper body, all right? Not too much of this. No flexion and expansion and contraction through the upper body. We're looking for a stable place from which the lower body can drive force into the swing. Now, a really common fault that I've seen in my coaching, specifically with the hammer, but in all types of swinging, is humping. And that's where we get the phrase, no humping. We have to ask the question, are you humping your kettlebell swing? And having a coach look from the outside is always a great idea if that coach knows what they're doing. Filming from the outside, specifically from the side, and going, I think I owe that kettlebell a drink, maybe would be a good step if you don't have access to a great coach. Highly encourage that. But what we see in a humped kettlebell swing is the contraction leaving the limitation of the posterior chain on the lower body and going up into the spinal erectors. So we're seeing this. Knees start to shoot forward over the toes, all right? Hips are slightly forward of the heels, and then we see the shoulders and the head rocking back past where the heels are in the ground. So we've added a lot of contraction to the spine, and we've lost the stability of the upper body, all right? It might feel like you're getting a lot more pull that way because we have added muscles to the contraction line, but your spinal erectors are not going to be developed or not going to be sending a lot of power into that kettlebell swing. And I would say for most of my athletes, if you can hump your kettlebell swing, the kettlebell's probably too light, right? That's just a me thing. It's kind of what I've observed. If it's not too light, if it is the weight that you should be using and you are humping it, you're going to start to feel some pain in your lower back or maybe some soreness in your upper back 1 day, maybe 2 days after your training session. Rather, what we would like to see is this no hump in your kettlebell swing, or in the top of your kettlebell swing, where we start to see your knees and your hips stacked up right over your heels, and all that power going in to the kettlebell, getting it up to breaking your eye line for that Russian swing, either with the kettlebell or the bodybuilding and mobile functionality hammer. Hopefully the hammer, you should probably buy one. And what we see is a maintaining of the stability, the rigidity of the upper body there. So your spine starts in a good position on the bottom and it ends in a good position on the top. So what's the note, all right? If you find you're filming yourself, you're humping your kettlebell swing, you're like, oh, I don't want to hump my kettlebell swing, I'm seeing somebody, whatever. How do we get from this position into this position? And here's a cue that I've noticed helps a lot. If it doesn't help you, get rid of it, find a cue that does. But I've noticed there's a lot of perception of, I'm gonna rip this kettlebell almost like you're trying to start a lawnmower that's behind you. I'm gonna rip it, all right? Shift the mindset from, I'm gonna pull this kettlebell off the ground, to I'm pushing the ground away from my kettlebell or my hammer. And that snap of pushing down on the earth, if you don't have a bell or a load in your hand, you might even notice a slight slide back of the feet. Where's my marker? I lost it. Okay, in this position, all right, the feet might slide back a little bit on the floor. If you're doing that, odds are good that the contraction is happening fast enough and maximally enough from this point down that you are not humping your swing. So that is Technique Tuesday for the bodybuilding. I broke it! For the bodybuilding and mobile functionality hammer. If this happens well, we get to get really exciting and really diverse with the stuff that you can do with the hammer in terms of generating power and being stable to release and throw and things like that. But if you're humping your swing, there's no way we're going to be able to stabilize the midline in order to get the hammer back into a position where it's not more likely to cause injury. And with any training methodology, we want to increase strength, we want to increase endurance, we want to increase physiological capacity without the danger of useless injury. Okay, so yeah, like there's such thing as a useful injury. If that helps, let me know. If it doesn't, maybe link to the type of to the video that got you going, oh, that's exactly what my problem is, because if we can do anything on this channel, it'd be hopefully to help people train better. That'd be great. And maybe get me using editing software. Not likely. So, happy Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow for the Workout Wednesday, and have